Tickets are available for Night Attack's South by So Wasted 2019. Go to bit.ly/Night Attack Austin. This opening song is called The T Stands for Tone. Get it at awtfy.com. That's awtfy.com/tone. Can you just give me in a vaguely musical way whatever it is she's saying?
Now that we're working on getting your nephew potty trained, it made me think, who taught you boys to stand up a T?
I want it as easy as possible, right?
What the fuck am I sitting down for?
I can aim this shit.
Oh, shit!
Golden Teton Long Tournament. The T stands for tone.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
T stands for tone.
Hey, build a fire outside. You need twigs, an assorted dry paper, and a magnifying glass. I'm a modern rogue, making some termites. One half rust, one half aluminum. Gotta open up a safe. I'm gonna take pills, all two of them.
Golden Teton Long Tournament. The T stands for tone.
The legitimate theatrical show. Yeah, with you since Hail Minoku. Suck my nuts, suck my nuts, suck on my nuts, suck on my nuts, suck on my nuts.
Hell yeah, Minoku. Golden Teton Long Tournament. The T stands for tone.
That's the new national anthem.
Oh, hell yeah, Minoku, it's Tuesday night, and that means it's time to set fire to the internet, which of course means it is go time for Night Attack, bringing you the best of the worst of the internet ever since anybody paid attention. I'm Brian Rushford, live in Austin, Texas, joined as always by my BFF and OAK as JRY, Justin Robert Young. You're not alone at all. What's going on?
Hell no! We are welcoming back a man who is an old guest
He's
from the...
very old. He's very old, and he's very much a guest.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please give a big round of applause to Dat Cat, who's enjoying Dat breeze of life. Darren Kitchen, everybody.
Huzzah! Hack5.com's very own Darren Kitchen. Okay, so I look, Darren, I love you like a brother, but I was a bit disappointed to find out that our favorite moment that Justin and I loved the most of your last appearance of as we're talking, the audience became slowly transfixed on your cat just digging the breeze coming in through the window, and then somebody in all caps in the chat says, "Dat cat enjoying dat breeze," and I saw it and loved it, wanted to stop the show to talk about it, but looked beyond it, and Justin was like, "Whoa, stop everything. That's the greatest phrase on the planet. Dat cat enjoying that breeze." And yet it made no impression on you. You have no memory of that moment.
Like most moments in my life, Brian, at least that's what it says at the bottom of the screen, so I'll address you as such. And I love you like a brother as well, is what I'm being told. That's what it reads. So yes, in fact, I'm saddened to say that she is still loving that breeze in /dev/null.
Oh dear.
Special place where that breeze is quite breezy.
Okay, well, if it makes you feel better, when we saw each other in Australia, you're like, "Oh my God, I saw somebody. I told them the Sony story." And I was like, "What's the Sony story?" And your look was like, "What the fuck, motherfucker? You don't remember the Sony story?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." It's like, "You were there." I'm like, "Sure I was." So for those who are not me, who like tell the Sony story the way you tell the Sony story.
You want me to tell you the Sony story right now?
Yes.
You're
yes.
geriatric, and I'm like, Brian, there was a good old times where you and I stumbled into...
Who's old now, motherfucker?
Specifically.
If you want to get me started by telling the Sony story.
Oh, no, I'm on your side. I'm saying fuck Brian.
You guys ever been to E3? I mean, I know Brian has. Brian may not know he's been to E3, but he will by the end of this story. Have you been?
I've never been to E3, no.
E3 is so worth going to because your inner 12-year-old is just like bursting with joy, even though you're really just spending most of the time standing in line looking at LEDs flash colors.
I mean, I think like that might have been the case back in the day, but isn't E3 now just like 4 press conferences and a lot of sadness?
Pretty much. But this was back when they would like invite bloggers out.
Yeah, this is the golden age of E3.
The golden age of E3, and I'm glad that we went, we saw, we conquered, and like any conference, is really about the after parties. So
Yeah.
we're trying to make our way into the after party of I forget what year it was, but it might date it if I say like World of Tanks was
yeah.
the big deal. They had like tanks rolling through LA and
Wow.
or maybe that was just because the Lakers were playing. But either way,
Yeah.
it was a big deal, and we wanted to go and experience the VIP thing that is like, hey, you can come up to the party in the suite at this one hotel.
Yeah.
With the developers and the big wigs, and they're gonna be like partying because they just
So who
launched,
is offering this to you?
To put it in context, I believe this is back when we were with the network, and so we had kind of privileged status, and you walk around and you got a bunch of cameras on you, and everyone's like, yeah, here's a thing to come to the thing, and we're like, great, and I'm like, hey Darren, you want to go to the thing? There's a secret thing.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, that's why I joined Revision 5. It was like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, of course.
So we're at such and such hotel, and we don't know the specifics of this other than there is an epic party going on one of these suites. So we're like, well, all the suites are on. At least we've narrowed it down to like 4 floors that it could possibly be on. And we're with a decent entourage, but we're like, hey, if we don't know the room number, but you can tell a party from a mile away.
Sure.
Let's scan. Let's. This was a Star Trek: The Next Generation away mission.
All right. Pause this right now, because I want to let everybody listening know that if I have hung extensively with both Darren Kitchen and with Brian Brushwood, and I will tell you that when either of them have hung out with me, if they have an ambitious, weird plan to go do something ambitious, there's a fair chance that I'll be like, that sounds great, but there's also a bar where we could just talk. Why don't we just do that? If you eliminate the me and you only have the two of them together, it's nothing that's impossible. We are talking about unlimited levels of Hey Boss. This is Hey Bossing on a scale that was once only thought to be theoretical, now made physical. So just so everybody understands, this is social engineering on a scale that you can't imagine personally.
I mean, plus also, this is also at a time that both of us are familiar with the concept of penetration testing and talking our way into places. We're close enough that it's a friendly competition, but it's very much a co-quest where it's like, if there's a party and it's VIP and we're maybe not supposed to be there, let's make sure we get in there.
Yeah.
And it was a good us. We were in an entourage that was a couple deep, and and you know what? You were there in spirit.
I like to think I was.
You really were, because we were with a lot of red shirts, and on this away mission, we sent them to the upper floors. Well, Brian and I decided that we were gonna nope. Floor 38's the one that we're gonna tackle.
Sure.
And we're gonna just walk the floors until we find the quintessential coming from the suite. And it's like the telltale sign, there's the party.
So wait a minute. So you guys literally separate yourself from the rest of the crew that's also looking for this party.
Well, we sent the producers.
Yeah.
The
We
flossum.
definitely.
So the talent goes to search the good floor.
Yeah.
And we're walking around, and it's one of these like, we'll just jiggle a door handle, and if it opens, hey.
Because usually the telltale sign at any kind of convention is somebody has the privacy thing clicked in so the door doesn't completely close. There's some kind of indication. And meanwhile, this is back when I was doing the crazy Guile spiked out hair, and we all both have our material. So it's like I'm chest puffed up, hey man, I was on the I'm sorry, I was just here. I just came from the Tonight Show. I'm the internet's Brian Brushwood, host of Scam School, like ready to burst my way in.
And that's how he plays it when we come across the door, and she literally gives Brian, and I'd like to say and myself, but Brian this look that's like
the full size up and down.
Yeah.
I have to give you a fair description, because this elderly, beautiful Asian woman in a gown of all things with like the pearls and the rock that you could see from LAX.
So
looks
that
right
is
up and down.
By the way, that is a gatekeeper that none shall pass unless she gives the fucking word.
Oh.
Like, that's not a bouncer that you can bullshit. That's not some PR flack that is going to be able to be dazzled. That lady knows everybody that's supposed to be there and everybody that is not, which is everyone she doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly. And we're like, standing at the door thinking, all right, well, worst case scenario. And I'm just going along with it. I'm just yes man because Brian here is the social engineering pro.
I'm running entirely on the idea that you got to look like you belong, and there's no question about it. And it's like if everybody else doesn't recognize you, that's kind of on them, not on you, right? Like that's like. I'm sorry, must be a mix-up. Anyway, Georgie told me to be here. How you guys doing? What's going on?
Yeah, and speaking of looking like we should belong there,
Yeah.
I'm standing at the doorway here with Brian, peering in, and I noticed that not only is it this Asian woman with the pearls and the gown and the rock greeting us at the door, but I can see beyond into this party with the chandeliers and the beautiful suite that it's a lot of men in suits.
Yeah.
And some rather eccentric escorts, I imagine.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's kind of where we are in this story. And she looks us up and down, and we're not looking that we're jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah.
E3, right?
Yeah.
Hey, keep in mind, it's a little bit quieter than we would have expected for a VIP party. And at which point, this is the moment in my mind that initiate subroutine, get this party started. Work this like a close-up gig.
Run Fergie.exe.
It is indeed, we've stumbled into Bach and fish eggs. This is that kind of part.
Fish
And
eggs.
by the way, it's the original Fergie.exe, not the one they ran on the radio.
Well, and by the way, that's the misdirection at that point, where it's like the one thing I don't want them doing is asking why we're there. What I could see, Terminator vision, analyze, pretend I'm being paid to be here, is like these people need a focal point and something to do. So I start immediately going into, hey, do you know any bar scams? No, why would you ask? I was like, well, I happen to host the number one show.
You're getting ahead of yourself because we're standing at the doorway and she's like, yes. And you say, we're here for the party. And she looks us up and down, looks back into all these dudes in suits and escorts, looks at us again and goes, of course you are. Like this. That's when you bust into this. She puts out the whiskey.
And by the way, this is peak Brian Brushwood with the crazy hair and the punked out clothes.
Yeah. I mean, for all, in retrospect, perhaps she was thinking we were also some of the escorts.
I think so.
Dude, we
by the
wore
way,
some tasty candy back in the day.
The party I would expect at E3, and I've never been to one of these parties at E3, but if I were to take a wild guess, I would say that the attendees would be developers who have exactly a developer's physique, and then maybe some of the booth babes that they're like, hey, come on up, unlimited fun in room whatever. But it's probably going to be a lot of fairly loud music and a bunch of people playing video games.
Right.
And it will be the most extravagant version of a LAN party.
We were expecting chips and cheap beer.
Yeah.
Not caviar and expensive Japanese whiskey.
Yeah.
And so we're
Everybody
standing
in a
there,
suit.
And Brian, this is when Brian is trying to make a good impression, and
Because you guys are in deep water right now.
Yeah,
you
and
guys go in, and it is now you are now swimming for your life because you have invited your way in here. You've been let in. Now you need to prove that you belong.
Exactly. So we got at least through the door and to the bar, and she starts to pour some whiskey and says, "Oh, what do you guys do?" And mind you, we're still completely flying blind here, other than knowing that there's some caviar on the table, and Brian decides that this is the perfect opportunity to extol the virtues of the brushwood.
Yeah. So I start going to do, hey man, I host a show on the internet. I social engineering at the bar and on the street.
Brian, that's not how you open the conversation.
All right. Hey boss, it's me, Brian Brushwood.
It's not it. It's not it.
host of Scam School on the internet, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar on the street. He was like, here, let me show you. I teach people how to get free beers at the bar. How would you like that? Yeah, this guy, I bet he would like a free beer at the bar, fatty. All right, and then, no. And then, it's like, do the human chimney, do the jack-o'-lantern, do this, that. And we're like, well, so where do you teach us? And so I'm very much like, here's what I know. The moment I stop talking about what it is I do on the internet, the subject might go to why we're there. So I try very hard to keep the conversation on how interesting it is to learn awesome magic, right?
By the way,
So
I see.
effectively, for the price of being let into the party, you become their corporate entertainer.
Correct. Well, because in that moment, we both realize, like, there's no other choice. We need to, this can't be a defeat. They need to feel like they're the ones who won in this exchange.
And then let me tell you, after you had sold them on that, I was like, oh, we have one. I'm clearly sidekick. I don't need to explain Jack, because the way that you sold it was so well that it was like, oh, we're going to be here for the rest of the night doing magic or something.
Yeah.
And-
And your job is to go,
And my job,
great job, bro.
just enough to know when to light the match and inhale, or light cotton on fire and stick it in your mouth, or whatever have you. So, so then she turns to me and says, like, after she's acknowledged that your magical worth is
This is definitely a good 15, 20 minutes in. Like, we are established. They're happy to have us there. They're like, thank God somebody who's not in a suit with an escort is here at this party. Thank God somebody's trying to entertain us.
yeah.
And,
We should also kind of paint the picture of, like, the time period that this is in. I had said that, this was the E3 where out front you had, like, World of Tanks was, like, making a big splash. But it was also,
what else was going on during that time?
well, new consoles were on that precipice. No, they hadn't come out yet. No, we were last generation, but this was around Christmas.
This is shortly before that movie, The Interview, was supposed to come out, I think.
Wait, the Seth Rogen interview?
Yeah,
with
that's
James
right.
Franco?
Yeah, it's around that time. Whatever
hack
time
one?
that happened to be.
That's no, and moreover, something was happening leading up to this E3, which typically I believe happens in January, and something that really upset people throughout the holiday season. Because during the entire holiday season that year, you understand, you just open up your new PlayStation 3, your Xbox, whatever. But man, if you made the wrong choice on consoles, one of those two was not getting online anytime soon because a denial of service attack. That's, by the way, why I'm here.
Yeah.
Is causing problems for the PlayStation Network to the tune of millions and millions of dollars in lost subscriber money and refunds and damage to the brand because that thing's not getting off the ground.
And beyond that, if this clientele of the party is what I am picking up,
Well,
they are also the subject of having a lot of internal emails now just made public and laid bare to the point where there are no corporate secrets in
That's hilarious, Justin. Anyway, if you inhale the sulfur, you get the smoke out your mouth. All right, that's it for me, Brian Brushwood. Here's my buddy, Darren Kitchen. Everybody meet Darren Kitchen. Darren, what do you do?
that's the time where she's pouring us really nice, expensive Japanese whiskey. And
No, you didn't say what you did you?
oh no! And as we're about to
No!
cheers, she says to me,
No!
she says, "Oh, and what do you do?"
Run! I'm yelling back in time, not to you, to the you that used to exist. Run! Give a big boot to the escort who's holding the 57-year-old's hand and run out of the room. Don't say the truth, Darren. Don't say the truth.
I couldn't help it. I live under a rock. I forgot. And I said, I'm a hacker. I teach hacking on the internet. To which the three of us, very curious who she is, and she says, we're about to toast, she says, oh, and I'm the vice president of Sony Entertainment Interactive. To hackers.
To hackers, we definitely toasted to hackers.
Oh, no.
Oh, Justin.
Aid. You have to understand.
Oh, he sends them.
Bee pollen.
That is fucking amazing. That is fucking amazing that you looked in their eyes as all of their empire is crumbling down around their feet and they are the height of opulence. They are literally fiddling as Rome burns around them. And you're like, yeah, I'm an arsonist.
Thanks for the booze, fucko.
Now that is a Hall of Fame moment in Hey Boss history. But I'll tell you what, here's something that you don't need to sneak into, Brian.
Yeah?
How about our live show out there in Austin, Texas, March 9th?
Oh, hells yeah. You talk about South by So Wasted. What is this, the fifth, sixth year that we've done this? This is the biggest, best version of it we've ever tried. We're trying to punch God right in his eyeball.
That and we're going to see. We can't do it unless y'all do it with us. So here's the deal. We rented a theater. We talked about this the other day. We flew down the Ice Cream Social Boys. They're going to be down there. We are definitely going to have some raps by Dual Core. May or may not have one of our other South by So Wasted regulars come on and show up. And
Hold
we
on,
have more.
Justin, real quick, I just have a question about who we're hoping to be there. If you were talking about the guest that was coming on, no?
I mean, maybe. Maybe Brian should check his text before we tease this person.
And then one day Brian checked his text and realized that he hadn't gotten a response.
Well, the guy who hasn't checked his phone should be looking hands. Maybe they've got another gig. Anyway, read into that what you will. We hope that they'll be there. We know the Dual Core is going to be there. We know that we have a few other special guests that there may or may not be a first live performance by a certain YouTube
No,
channel.
I think we could go ahead and tease that like flatly, because I've already spoken to Jason, and one of the ideas at the Periphery was, what would a live version of Modern Rogue look like? And we don't know, and we're gonna try to figure it out. So we're gonna try to do Modern Rogue live on stage. No idea what it'll be or what it'll look like, but they made Mythbusters into a live show, so hells yeah, let's give it a try.
Look, here's the deal: Night Attack Live, Ice Cream Social Live, the first ever. You can say that you were there for the first ever live Modern Rogue performance, and it's only $18. $18 right now. March 9th at the North Door Theater in Austin, the first theater show we have ever done in Austin. Brian, how long has it been since you rented out a theater and performed on stage in your hometown of Austin?
Last time I remember doing it was like 2002, 2001, I do believe. This is in the parlance of the traveling road show, the four-walling a theater. That's where we take on all of the risk and hopefully break even. That's how theater works. I remember the first time that I did it was 1999, and then again in 2000. So I am sincerely hoping that this will be the biggest, most packed audience that we've ever had. The venue seats, I believe, 100, 150 people. But yes, we are charging. We've never charged before. That makes us very, very nervous. But we have to charge in order to get the venue. They have a full bar there. You're looking at 2 full podcasts, a live appearance from Night Attack, Dual Core, and a yet unnamed music guest. We'll see who they are.
Yeah, cheaper than adoption. Look, bit.ly/Night Attack Austin. Again, bit.ly/Night Attack Austin is where you can get tickets right now. We want to, for $18, give you the programming in 3 hours of a one-day convention. And then right afterward, we can all file right the fuck out and then party all night on 6th Street. It is going to be an absolute fucking blast. We are really putting a lot of effort into this. And we hope
So to be clear, and I hope nobody from the North Door venue is listening to this, because they made it very clear that we are only buying the 3-hour block that we are programming for. But between you, me, and the wall, they're opening the doors an hour beforehand. And who's to say, what if there was an hour-long concert as you kind of walked in? And what if you were there right at the very beginning and got to watch the entire hour-long concert? Wouldn't that be amazing? Yep. So... the idea is, what if we packed an entire convention into 4 hours, and then the after party was all of 6th Street? We all hop on bird scooters and ride our way down to Casino El Camino and go nuts.
And just look, I love this venue. Brian and I did the Simpsons podcast there last year, and we immediately fell in love with it. It's a reason why we went there to go book it. It is dope. And by the way, there are other special guests that we have on here. I can say this. I literally got a very threatening text message from one Willie Dills Gregory who said, either I'm part of your South by show or we're in a fight. So either watch Willie Dills Gregory on stage in some capacity, or you're going to watch me fight him outside the venue. One way or another, that's going to be worth the price of admission. Come on out there, bit.ly/Night Attack Austin. Now, that being said, there was another thing that we're going to do the next day, because to be honest with you, the price that we are charging for people to get into the door for the show on Saturday is basically to cover the price of renting such a rad venue.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. It's thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
that's your little secret.
I think we said last week it's $1,000, and we're hoping to get around
$500 of bar traffic.
Yeah, and $500 get bar guarantee. So, like, if we make over it, congratulations, we'll be able to actually pay our talent. That being said, the way that we're actually funding Ice Cream Social coming in and being able to stay there is in an event we're doing the next day, which is, I think, really, really awesome. It's going to be a VIP event at the 7 Acre Schwood.
Specifically, I think we're calling it the VIP Hangover. And among other things, it's going to include a special super secret second show that'll be a crossover event between the two of us. The idea is I want to take you guys around. Look, here's the thing. You guys know that we have the property. You guys know that we recently got all the permits. We're going to start building a lot of stuff. I called Justin because I was horrified when I realized just how tall the first building is going to be. And I was like, do we really need it to be that tall? But it's like, we already got permitted for it to be that tall. This thing over the next 5, 10, 20 years is going to become my Willy Wonka Wonderland. And you have the chance to say you were there for the VIP Hangover Tour. We don't want a ton of people, mainly because it's way not safe to have a whole bunch of people walking around this thing.
And by way not safe, I mean, I don't know if it's legal. Like, I don't know. I think we're basically just going to have to run this off PayPal, because it's just going to be friends that are showing up at a thing that we're covering costs for, because I don't think legally we can sell tickets off like brown paper tickets like we're doing.
We most certainly can't, Justin, and that is why I am announcing that I am having a private party for a few very close friends of mine who are going to come and get a tour of the 7 Acre Schwood and hear the complete story of the property, including some unsavory details that we've decided are best not told all live on the air.
And by the way, when I was on the morning stream this morning, I just texted Scott and Brian the
the link
of what it is. I'm like, you can't say anything. You just need to know that this is what he's going to be talking about with the VIP thing. And they were blown away, because it's an insane story. It's not something. Eventually, look, this will all be sanded down, and we'll figure out a way to talk about it, and we can figure out the full history and dig into it. For right now, there are some raw, jagged details that you can hear. So here's how it's going to go. if you want to be some of the people that make events like this possible, you got a little extra money in your pocket. We can only really have, I think, even responsibly, like
we're aiming for like 20 people. We're aiming for 20 people. And look, if more people want, we'll do our best to accommodate however many we feel comfortable with. But we're aiming for a very small number of people. We want this to be very special for the people who show up hungover after South by So Wasted.
So here's the deal. Email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Let me know that you're interested. I'll put you on the list, and I'll send you what it is. But we're looking to get, can we say what? I mean, I think, look, it's fine to say what we want to charge for it. Or
Yeah, to be honest, we were talking about, like, it feels like a $75 event, but we're terribly afraid of too many people showing up. So we're going to make it $100. We're sorry if you're somebody where that's a problem. I don't know. Let us know. But we're trying to keep it.
There are going to be many, many, many events that will be 50-person events, 100-person events, 150-person events. When shit's actually built,
Yep.
Shit's not going to be actually built. We're not going to have the facilities for it. So it's like, this is going to be small. This is going to be intimate, but we want to make it worth it. We want to over-deliver on it. So it's going to be food. It's going to be a guided tour of the property, including stories that may never be told in the way that we're going to tell them.
And more importantly, maybe publicly denied repeatedly.
Publicly denied later. And then a show that will eventually end up in the feeds for Ice Cream Social and Night Attack, but an exclusive show that you're going to be there for. But it'll be 20 people is what we're looking for.
It's probably worth pointing out. Sandwich Brad in the chat is saying, like, hell yeah, Diamond Con needs to happen. Of course, that's not a thing yet, but this is the proto molecule that may eventually someday become that.
I hope people are picking up what we're talking about when we're saying we're trying to jam a one-day convention's worth of stuff, so we know what people's appetite is for something like this. Just so you know, there's a method to the madness. This is what we are looking for. We want to do it in a safe space. So here's the deal. bit.ly/Night Attack Austin for the live show on Saturday. Email me directly, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. It's going to be $100. We're capping it at 20. We're going to do first come, first serve. And then if there's more than 20, we'll figure it out. But just go ahead and email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. We'll figure out the rest.
Hey man, do we have a main event tonight?
Well, also Patreon, in case we haven't asked.
No. I mean, we can skip it. Patreon.com/Night Attack, right?
You want to do name chant corner hour?
No.
No, apparently subscribe. All right. All right. Whatever. I'm sorry we're not doing all the regular things, and you're gonna understand why. We need to save time.
We'll just do these silently over the video. How about that?
Give me an idea of what kind of time we're talking about here.
No.
When do you guys wrap?
Whenever we want.
Yeah, when a beat drops, that's when.
We are going to give this all the. Oh wait, are we doing the thing?
No,
We'll
no,
just
no,
do
no,
it silent.
just
It's fine.
silently.
It's fine.
Everybody's donating on Twitch. It's a thing we do.
Okay. I had a conversation with Darren last Wednesday. How do you remember telling me the initial thing? Because what I'm going to say to you is this, before Darren says how he initially pitched to me this mystery, that having heard it and knowing everything that Darren knows about it, I dare not speak the name of the episode, but this is the biggest mystery we have had on this show.
Holy cow. Since a previous episode where we had a mystery.
Blink, 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 blink.
Okay, so should we explain to the uninitiated exactly if they're not familiar with Darren Kitchen? Does it help to have a context of why most people know him?
No, not necessarily. Except for the fact that just there you are a public figure.
There's a good intersection. I don't think that is.
No. Just because people are going to wander, right? Like,
Sure.
You are a public figure who's been on the internet for a long time because That factors into why somebody might have solicited you.
Yes, because you've been on the internet for
Indeed.
some time, and you know. So I haven't done the exact math. I know that we were one of the very first 10 video podcasts on the internet. I know for a fact that we are the longest running video show on YouTube, which is kind of crazy to think, because
Holy cow.
I literally had to wade through every channel created between the months of September and November of 2005 to find if anybody has continued to post. And no, as it turns out. So it's a hacking podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hack 5.
Okay.
We have similar heritage here. We were both on Revision 6. And since then, we've continued on with the Group 7 and Media 9 or whoever it is today.
something like that.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and nip these in the bud. Number one, me and Darren don't have the same father, so you can swipe that off your bingo boards. And Darren did not write Frodo Baggins on that woman's titty. So those are not the mysteries we were talking about. Darren, you told me that you got a strange email one day.
All right. So you've been on the internet.
Of course.
You've gotten the emails.
Mhm.
Also, this one didn't come from Nigeria. However, I thought perhaps it had.
Because it said.
Because, and I feel like you're kind of glossing over the idea that that fateful Wednesday that we went out on our mandate, I don't think I told you until like the 4th bar. So
Yeah.
this isn't something that I'm always like.
This is a big deal. This is your unpeeling like an onion right before our eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what I found out was I got one of these emails that's like, yo, dog, you are owed $10,000. Click here to redeem your prize, animated GIF.
Okay. As somebody savvy to the hacking culture, I assume that this barely even registers. Like, crap, click.
Normally, Brian, I'm sitting in Gmail.
And by the way, again, because I am friends with both Brian and Darren, and they have a way of speaking in metaphors when they want to speak literally. You literally did not get a email that said, you've won $10,000. Click here to redeem your prize, animated GIF.
No.
You got a very official looking
No,
email.
okay, you're right.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I didn't even notice the official looking email because the way that I roll in Gmail is I'm like XJ, which if you don't know is like select everything and archive the F out of it because we're done here.
Yeah.
Right. And so this doesn't even register. In fact, it doesn't register, as I find out, 4 months until suddenly a letter arrives, certified mail.
Oh my God. I've never been thrilled with anything that has ever arrived certified mail ever. Like, I've always assumed I'm finally being sued. It always turns out to be the HOA griping about my lawn care.
So you know about this, Brian, because you see the letter and it's got the yellow, or sorry, it's got the green stripe going down the side of it, and you're like, oh, this is real. And you open it up and you realize it's on. I mean, feel this. For the viewers at home, what does that feel like?
This is
that
a weighty.
cardstock?
This is a weighty piece of paper. This is
that-
law firm paper.
Fitty
and
town.
it even begins with a law firm heading. It even says attorneys at law. That's what they do.
Okay.
Even the email address is at AOL.com.
No, wait. Attorneys at law at AOL.com.
Attorneys at law.
Close enough. Suffice it to say, it is, in fact, that. And it is dated. Like, it is dated. Because, of course, I only receive my mail once a month. There's a fun story there involving strippers. It's not really necessary for right now.
Yeah.
But point is, I finally get this from the something Esquire at AOL.com.
By the way, it's just now hitting me that you're holding an actual, like, that's not a prop. Must be the actual letter.
This right now.
Is this 4K? Don't flip it around.
No. I know. This is why I'm holding it like this. This is a letter, and I am telling you right now, if you believed anything on this show, I am reading the address and phone numbers of this law firm based in the great state of Florida.
The great state of Florida. So that's why I was like, okay, wow, these scammers are really getting good to the point where they're willing to put some money. It's an extra 75 cents to get certified.
Well, hey man, I'm on the Reddits. People are saying those Nigerian 409 scams are sending on their faxes now, which is like originally what they did 30 years ago, but they're doing it again because that's harder.
Because classics are classics for a reason.
Right. And this one begins, dear Mr. Kitchen. And it's like, okay, that's my father's name, but I'll go with it. We have made many attempts to reach you by letter. The Pony Express never made it. Telephone. My dial-up stopped working a while ago. Email. Yeah, probably spammed you. LinkedIn. I probably will never look for a job in my life. And even... Did they spell it wrong? Facebook? Oh, my God. Oh, no. And Facebook. Formerly not. Anyway, yeah. No.
Hold on, Your Honor. Quick sidebar. Justin.
Yeah.
It is now occurring to me that this is a serious story. I know you well enough to know that you wouldn't let the. Okay, all right. Resume the story, Your Honor.
Oh, hey, Bri.
Yeah.
Shit's about to get real.
Okay, all right.
We've struck out at every turn. We are making a final effort. Oh, you gotta add urgency to it if you're gonna scam someone. You get at a final effort to reach out to get the gift of $10,000. That someone who will not be named has left for you.
All right.
Now, Brian, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You are the host of Scam Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Have dedicated a large portion of your life to social engineering.
Yes.
How would you rate that as a scam? Let's assume that somebody knows that Darren is a person who runs a business, that they theoretically see dollar signs. They are looking to scam him. How would you rate that as a scam?
Okay, so a scam is a pale imitation of a direct marketing strategy, which is a pale imitation of a debt collection strategy. In a debt collection strategy, you send out a notice, a second notice, and then the third and final notice, you create urgency. You're about to get in real trouble if you don't pay the debt. In sales, you say, hey, I have a widget. Would you like to buy the widget? And you say, second notice, hey, man, I told you about the widget. Maybe you missed the first letter. Third, final notice, this widget is on sale for only 20 more minutes. So you better hurry up and get it. So a scam is, of course, a copy of a copy of a copy in that regard. So this sounds very scamtastical because the next thing you do is you get them on the hook, you get them believing that there's $10,000 of a gift, and you're like, oh, there's just a minor processing fee of $487. Just send that over and we'll give you your $10,000, right?
Exactly, because you can't con an honest John, and anybody who's looking for a free $10,000 might be willing to pay a small fee that then, would be sent off into the wind.
Indeed. In fact, there was some telltale signs. This next sentence begins, the second word there, if what now?
If here is a reason that you do not wish to accept this gift for your own reasons, please provide a written statement simply saying that you do not wish to receive it.
That sounds so scamtaculous English as a second language. I don't know. That sounds vaguely legalese. If here is a reason for which you would not want the reason for reasonable discourse to not receive money, please indicate forthwith money no receivio.
And if we know anything from our previous investigations, broken English certainly indicates that it's a total scam and absolutely not legitimate.
Oh, Justin, you are not saying what I think you're saying because...
Darren,
Well,
what happened next?
you should probably read the very last sentence of this, which is the only reason that I gave this any sort of legitimacy, like, maybe I will check my inbox.
We have previously provided copies of the probate documents. However, should you need additional copies, please let us know. So they are saying that they do have
probate
documents.
Probate is the secret password that equals somebody died, shit's tangled up in legal, We're legitimate lawyers.
Well, this is where I send the email to the, and here's the thing. I checked my inbox. It was in spam. It was sent from was this one at Gmail? No. Okay. So the letterhead actually shows an at AOL.com. However, the email that never made it to my priority inbox, that was like, archived AF,
Sure.
came from an at Gmail and ends with a signature line that indicates that both the AOL and the Gmail are legitimate ways to correspond with this supposed attorney at law, because the 90s haven't ended.
Okay. Look, I am aware that we're in the middle of telling a story, and I am aware that Justin is excited about the story, and both of those would indicate that somehow there's some legitimacy to this, but nothing you have described would indicate to me that you should believe any of this, except for the certified mail feels like, well, that would get my attention.
I mean, that would certainly be an aggressive scam, which if it was a random person, I would say, okay, there's legitimacy. But even hearing this conversation for the first time when Darren was telling me, I was like, well, but you're not a regular dude. You are the hacker guy.
Well, and by the way, I feel like Darren and I are in a very exclusive club of people who feel the need to be extraordinarily diligent about security concerns for fear that some 15-year-old would love to brag to his friends about how he owned the Hack 5 guy or the Hacking the System guy or the whatever guy.
So here's the thing, Brian. I want to know your honest opinion. If you would think less of me if you knew that I emailed this person back.
I would do the same. I would do the same because legally now I would be careful in how I responded, in that I would try not to. I would email back. I would be extraordinarily reserved in how I responded, not being too overeager, but clearly indicating like, oh, is this a real thing? And I would probably give them another way to contact me as the quote unquote best way to contact me, in the hopes to.
Tell me if this reads anything like what you would have done, which is to say, hey there, person's name. I've received a letter purporting to be from your Florida law firm indicating that I have been gifted $10,000 in the will of some unnamed person. And this email is the only other communications I've received regarding the matter. I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
It's a new word. It's trending. Of the legitimacy of the case concerning that there's a Gmail and an AOL, and the letter received indicates that you've tried to reach out by phone and LinkedIn and telephone and Facebook, but of note, I don't have any such evidence. Can you please provide a reliable, independent source to corroborate this claim, such as copies of these probate documents? If you because I even say I have been unable to find your law firm in the Florida bar.
Okay,
and I'm concerned that this is a scam.
All right, great. That is exactly what I would recommend. My question to you is: did you just hit the reply button, or but I guess you looked up, tried to find them independently, because theoretically, what you should do is you should say, "This is good information." Then you hang up the phone, close out the email, and then say, "Here's the name of the law firm. Here's the whatever. Let me pick up the phone. Let me call them, or whatever." Like independently reach out to them instead of responding to the exact email address that they gave to you.
Good point. And that is what you should always do. Call the phone number on the back of your credit card.
Yeah. Well, so what happened when you responded?
Well, let's cut to the chase. Brian, I found out 3 very important, interesting things in the reply.
Whoa. You got documents.
I got an email back with a PDF. I got links to a florida.gov.us or no, .us.gov or whatever it is. I got legitimate corroborated evidence to support the 3 facts of the email that has since led to me at bar number 4 saying, Justin, You
Yeah.
would not believe what happened to me this week.
All right. Now look, Darren got legitimate links to Florida court documents. He got copies of those documents via PDF, and he got enough evidence from those two to corroborate the idea that this was a legitimate law firm that was legitimately reaching out to him for a $10,000 will payout for somebody that I feel like needs to be said right now. Again, reiterated,
Yes.
he does not know. He has no idea who the person in this will is.
So,
Bri-
Now back with
one
the
moment,
attack.
one moment, Your
All
Honor.
right, fine, go.
Bryce, the music, please. Sometimes you're doing a podcast. Your co-host, who you've known for 10 full years, indicates to you that he has a tale beyond the imagination. A friend of yours, a fellow hacker, somebody who you know to be skeptical, tells you he's been on a bit of an adventure. You find yourself live on the air, and you ask yourself, what the fuck is happening? Is this some bullshit tale? Or maybe, just maybe, this motherfucker's about to get $10,000. I'm Brian Brushwood. Welcome to Night Attack.
Brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is where you can get a website. What?
oh, was that a real thing?
Oh,
No. No, it is a real thing that Squarespace can give you a website.
oh yeah, fuck MailChimp. All right, Darren, I think from what you showed me and what you have now come to believe and what I have independently verified,
Oh.
there is $10,000 waiting for you in a will that
Can
is
I-
now being adjudicated by a Florida law firm.
Then can I tell Brian to catch him up to speed? Because I'm really curious what you've learned. Because I you know, we were-
by the way, yeah.
we were at bar number 4 when I gave you a case file, I think.
It was a while. All right, so at this point, let you know that there is legitimacy to this.
Mm.
And let's real quick give everybody a backstory on your relationship with your father and specifically the time missing.
Whoa.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wait. Is that really where we're going from here? Like, I feel like you just reached out and asked me to join the dark
No,
side.
no. This isn't join the dark side. We just need to understand, just for the facts of the record,
How much
that there
context
was
you want?
just to let people know, just confirm what I said, that you knew your father, that there was a period of time that you didn't know your dad.
I
Yeah.
get where we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
All
gonna
right,
blurt it out.
gentlemen, one moment. Bryce, hit the music. You're midway through a bit in your comedy podcast, and your co-host and special guest suddenly break down. You can tell this is no bit. If it is, it's the most tightly written shit you've ever seen. You know your co-host is funny, but not that precise. And that's when I realize maybe they're actually fighting about a real truth that you're about to discover live on the air on Night Attack.
Brought you by MailChimp. Just real quick.
You were just like
I just need you.
the deep cut.
Just the TLDR.
The TLDR
Yeah.
is Papa served in World War II. If I'm a date things.
Yes.
He made it to Liverpool. He joined. He was 101st Airborne. He was about to deploy in D-Day. Let me tell you, those paratroopers didn't do too well. They did not fare well in Normandy.
No.
Which makes you wonder, how is Darren here if his papa was... Well, that's the thing. He was the original scammer. I'm sorry, Brian. But you got to put yourself in the shoes of a 17-year-old boy. man boy, that around him are nothing but children and old men, because everybody else has gone to the European theater, and some of them in, the Pacific and some of them in Africa. But for the most part, you had to join up and do your duty.
Yeah.
And Uncle Sam had called and left a few voicemails. And in 1945, dear old Pop decided that he was going to pay a wino to pose as his father. And he did. He went through boot. He got his wings. And he ended up in Liverpool, not near Dublin / the East Bay here off Bart, but Liverpool,
Yeah.
England.
Yeah.
And he was about to be deployed, and his CEO comes up to him and says, Dick, that's my dad's name, not Richard, Dick.
Yeah.
He goes, Dick, there's something you need to tell me? No. I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Well, then why do I have a letter here from your parents to say you're only 17?
Wait a minute.
But you gotta get out of here.
Well,
You're 18.
so, music, please. No, actually, skip the music. So wait, your dad I went to the military, was of age, didn't want to so much get killed in a fucking ditch on the other side of the world.
Underage. Was underage.
He was underage.
He was gonna be paratrooped, he was gonna jump out of an airplane onto a beach to be turned into Swiss cheese by Nazis. That was
Right.
my pop.
So he lied to get into the military. He's about to deploy for D-Day, and a letter comes in from his actual parents that say he's 17 and he needs to go home.
What's funny
Can't let him
is
fight.
this is what a coward I am, is I couldn't even conceive of anything but the opposite. I would pay a wino when I was 19 to say, I'm his dad and he's only 17, and get him out.
Now, an amazing story. Not the TLDR that
Well,
I
no,
was
no,
looking
but
for.
it is because
Okay.
I have to set this up to say,
Sure.
Dad was he only turned 18 in 1946 when all the fun was. I say the fun,
Yeah, by that he means
with a lot
World
with
War
all the
II.
respect to
Yeah.
those that did what they needed to do.
Greatest
But,
generation.
Absolutely. However, kind of
He's
he's old.
He's up there.
He's up there.
when he
19
sires you.
I was going to say 1928, 1923. I don't know. I'm not doing the math right now, but suffice it to say, he'd be really up there right now.
And he is how old when you're born?
Ooh. Okay. So he gets together with mom when he's 50 and she's 25. So
Nice.
Hot
what do you go-
damn. Dick Kitchen, making the magic.
Getting it in.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Easy-
You know,
easy-
Shortly after impregnating his wife, he turned and said, I'm a hacker to the VP of Sony.
He's like, I just delivered the payload. And then he winked at her and said, you'll get it later.
It's an injection virus. You can't go back.
So
So a couple of years go by.
how old are you when your
When
parents split up?
Yeah, because I mean, let's be real here. 50-50 shot. I'm the other side of the coin. They do split. Like most others.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'm like
Okay.
2-ish, right?
Now there is a gap of time before he comes back to into your life. How long is that?
But before any of that happens, he turns to the camera and said, should have used a rubber ducky.
And then winks again and says, "You'll get that. You'll
Yeah.
get that later too."
It's called keystroke injection.
Right.
So
So how long is it before? Because he does come back and he is back in your life at what age?
double digits, man. I just turned 10. Formidable age. Wonderful time to have a pa again.
Yeah.
Road trip out west, see the Grand Canyon, all the jazz. It's good to have.
So there is 8 years.
Yep.
In which is a you have no idea what happens with your dad.
Every now and then you'd get a letter with some allowance money that would come in the form of five $2 bills in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. I think at some point he was out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, cowboy. Or perhaps, I don't know, maybe Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Could have been.
And now he passes away before you turn 20, right?
I'm like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point I'm an adult, so clearly.
So
it's
you
time to start
don't
a
know.
podcast. Yeah.
No one knows except for your father, who is now no longer with us and was gone before you were 20. What happens in that 8 years?
In fact, that is the truth, which gives me many perplexions when I learn 3 important facts from the email back from the attorneys in Florida with corroborating evidence to state that, yes, indeed, 1, I have been gifted $10,000.
In $2 bills.
2, I have a mother I don't know about.
Oh!
And 3, she's dead.
Oh, wait, it was from your mom? It was not from me?
From a mom he never met and was not his birth mom, not his biological mom, but a woman who is listed in the will, which I have read, as his stepmother. That Darren Kitchen is at the address he used to live in, is listed as his stepson.
They used the Williamsburg address.
Yes.
Which is the last time I was on this show.
Now,
Holy
Darren Kitchen
cow.
has never met this woman and was never, adopted or anything or entered into any official familial relationship, legal or otherwise. And yet, $10,000 now sits in his name based on this will.
Holy moly. Okay, so at this point, you get this information. How recent do you get this information?
Last week,
dude. In fact, to the point where I agreed to come on the show, full well knowing I have not settled up this situation. I technically just need to, what did she say? I just need to send them an address and they'll send a check. I mean, at first I'm like, I'm really expecting that this is a really good one.
Yeah.
That's going to end in so we just need your routing and account number and your Bank of America
Oh,
password.
so much like the original Ghost Dad saga, the Ghost Mom saga ends with the Schrodinger's question of is this the moment that you become the sucker? Is this all a scam? Now, I know that in the Ghost Dad saga, by the way, please go back, listen to the Ghost Dad episodes, 2 of the best things we've ever done in the history of Night Attack. I remember Justin coming back and before revealing whether or not his dad was alive or not, realizing that he had come to the fundamental truth that it didn't matter whether his dad was alive or dead or not. He fully regarded him as a piece of shit and didn't want him to have any part of his life whatsoever.
I mean, if he's going to shamble into my life from the great beyond and just act like an asshole, it's like, all right, you're still not welcome at the party. Get the fuck out.
Man, can we throw up a straw poll and say whether or not people think this is legit on the level or not?
Sure, I haven't gotten the check.
Now.
But you've reviewed documents, so I don't even. Here's the thing. I was just I was telling my boy Justin here this funny story at the bar. I think that's 4th or 5th bar. And he was like, interesting thing happened to me. And then I heard the Ghost Dad story. And then I'm like, well, here's a probate court document number. You enjoy. I'll see you Tuesday.
I asked him, Darren, are you willing to allow me to dig into this on your behalf? Can I call people and tell them that I am calling them on behalf of Darren Kitchen? And you told me yes.
I said yes in the same voice my father must have said.
By the way, in your head you might have said yes. At bar 5, you said yeah, of course.
By the way, preliminary reports coming in with over 35, nearly 40 votes already. Is Ghost Mom real? 54% say yes, 46% say Pol Pot.
So I tweeted something, and people can go back into my Twitter and find it, that I spent my morning cold calling seniors on Friday.
Holy
The reason
cow.
why I spent my morning cold calling seniors was because I was on the trail trying to find more information about this situation. So I reviewed the document. In the document, there are 2 other people that are gifted money, and then there is 1 other person that is listed at as a executor of the will and the receiver of all other property by this woman. Let's call her, for the sake of ease, Betty. So I called around to the other people, everything I could find on public record, looking because I got both addresses, and now granted, considering the address that Darren was left was from like 15 years ago.
It was the hack house.
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of hope that it was the exact same people. I got through to one phone, and they said that they had never heard of the person that I was calling about. So that was a dead end. And then I stopped, not because of lack of interest, but because of time constraints on Friday. I stopped with one last number that I had found.
Oh my God, dude!
And that was the woman for whom is listed as the Betty.
You called Betty.
I did not. I left that as undone because I had run out of time. Now, we've since had a conversation,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I did not call Betty.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about being listed in a document about as a stepson is that you might imagine in the same document on if you're bullet point number 3, you would expect as stepson. Bullet point number 4 would be your sister.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
would-
By the way,
would she
Darren,
not be-
Darren has an older sister, and having reviewed the will myself, there is only one kitchen listed in that in that document, and it is not his older sister. It is only Darren. So you would think that theoretically, if there was a stepmom at some point in Dick Kitchen's existence, that theoretically she would claim both of the previous kids, which was odd.
Go on.
I get the distinct feeling there's a snubzing situation happening.
And not Shannon.
I was trying to figure out that
No,
connection.
but like that didn't occur to me until I sat down like just earlier that like, oh yeah, if I'm the stepson, then my sister is the stepdaughter, but if she's not on there, she's being snubbed. And then we put the pieces together about Betty because it's this one moment where you're like,
So Darren, you
flashback.
you had
suddenly,
a
like,
memory.
Pandora's box opens and you're like, oh, repressed stuff. We like put that in a box for a reason because we're like 18 and pops is passing, right? By the
Older
way,
sister.
served in World War II ish. Totally on brand.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 2001, that's
Now, you remember that after your father passed away, somebody came to town looking for.
well that's the thing is like, so this, like all family shows up out of the woodworks, uncles and aunts that you've never even heard of, right? And then this lady that looks for masked beings that knock over garbage with the
Raccoons.
Thank you.
Mass. Time out. Music,
happening?
please. Yeah, music, please. Sure. Never mind. Forget it.
Oh, come on. Okay. I was playing with that.
Masked beings that invade your trash. Is that what you just said?
Hey, by the way, Brian, this is what I go through when you call me trying to discuss important business things
fine.
and you begin with 9 metaphors stacking on top of each other.
Okay. Yeah.
By the way, I'm realizing now I have a type.
Just like I love salt and pepper bearded co-hosts, you
That's
you love people.
I apparently really enjoy saying, No. But beyond the metaphor, what the fuck are you talking about?
So I sit down and you're like, hey, so I did some digging and you ever heard of Betty? And I go, Betty. The trash panda lady.
She came to Darren's hometown after his father died and apparently was kicking around for money. There apparently was a bit of a skirmish that Darren was kept out of because he was the youngest, right? But he remembers that our Betty certainly came to visit, and our Betty was ejected from the premises because she was not welcome, and yet what I believe to be Betty's biological mother apparently felt enough for Darren that she left him $10,000. So I believe it was the daughter of the woman that came looking for the daughter of the woman came to Darren's place when his father died and caused a bit of a ruckus, was ejected, and apparently from that interaction, which I assume was directed by the elder sibling, she was the one being the bad guy, she gets written out of this will that was written because at some point in that 8-year period, Darren was listed as a stepson. And now that's just the as
I feel like from an information security perspective,
yeah.
it doesn't seem like the legal system requires that anybody go through any sort of verification or authentication process to somehow corroborate that this is indeed a stepson or a stepdaughter of any sort.
Like I could put in my will right now, and to my stepson Darren Kitchen, I give $10,000. And if I were to croak right now, legal would be all like, congratulations, you're Brian's stepson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you don't have to fucking run it through the state or something. Like you have to enter in their driver's license.
There's no 23andMe in there.
You could really mess with Ancestry.com that way.
You absolutely could.
I mean, just imagine the fun we could all have at like a LegalZoom.com sort of situation if we all just drew up wills tonight.
Indeed, which is why we should investigate LegalZoom as a sponsor. Create a fraudulent will that will leave confusion for generations.
Hey, by the way, Patreon, you worried about making money? Why don't you have a new service? Put me in your will. Go to patreon.com/putmeinyourwill and then give all your money to me when you're dead. It won't cost you anything while you're alive. And one of you fuckers is going to die.
So here's the moral of the story. The money's real. The person's real. The fact that Darren was listed as a stepson is real. Dick lived a life. And there is right now, the hanging thread is that there is a woman in an area of the great state of Florida for whom probably holds more answers. And yet, to ask those questions would mean digging up a painful moment in family history. And there we go. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
That is Ghost Mom.
I just remembered.
All right.
I got whoa. Hold on, wait a minute. Darren literally just remembered something.
As in all honesty, dude, as we're like describing this, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I'm 18 and clearly traumatized because, Papa.
Your dad just died.
Yeah. Totally. And I'm like, who is this crazy raccoon saving lady? If you're watching, Betty, hello. And I don't know if it counts that she was adopted. But what does that mean to me? If my cousin's brother's tennis partner also worked with Darth Planet on the construction of a not moon, Could I still use the Schwartz?
God, do I have a type? I swear to God.
What the fuck is he saying?
I don't know, but it fucking lined up perfectly with the music. It was amazing.
I don't want to reach out to her.
Nor should you.
I'm pretty
Nor
sure she was
should you.
adopted, and also, I'm pretty sure that 10,000 is real. The question is,
You can get the 10,000.
what do I do? 10 grand.
Okay, just real quick. Hello, it's me, the audience. Let me see if I got this straight. For Final Jeopardy, is the answer what is Darren Kitchen's father was a raconteur and a bit of a shenaniganizer who has a history of being duplicitous and mysterious, who spent most of his time away, was thought to be dead, started a second life, had a mistress that turned out to, or had a wife, married somebody who labeled Darren as a stepson, and upon her death gave $10,000, and now he might have a step sibling who tries to rescue trash pandas and create family disturbances? I got it!
Yeah, no, dude, this Darren was telling me this, and then the more I looked into it, I was like, this is some wild family stuff, man. I'll tell you what, people fucking did some shit before they could get shamed on Twitter. I swear to God, man.
Fucking people got away with some shit.
Like, you're out there doing whatever the fuck you want, and you're not worrying a lick about somebody on Twitter being like, hey, have you called Denise? And you're like, fuck, God damn it, now my whole shit's burned.
Did you ever see, man, it used to be on Netflix. I want to say the Imposter, or I forget what it was. But basically, there was a family in San Antonio whose kid went missing. And then just some French dude who was like 10 years after the fact just shows up. And you're like, yes, I am him. I am your son. And it's like, well, why are you talking with a French accent? It's like, because I was kidnapped and went to France. And he's like, why don't you look like our son? And you're like, a lot has changed. And then the family just sort of was like, hey, he's back.
Just go with the Pet Cemetery explanation. And they're just like, I guess he's back and he's different, but we love him all the same.
Oh, it's so crazy. Sorry, it was Spain, not France. Oh
my God. All right, here. I'm going to give you unbroken final questions with Darren. Darren, I'm going to ask you very specifically, no more metaphors.
Okay.
Just answer. I'm going to ask you both, no metaphors.
Yeah, okay. I provisionally will.
Other directly. Go. Oh, no, Brian, go.
Oh, is this
Brian, you can ask him questions.
I'm doing that.
Okay, so number one, do you intend to collect the $10,000?
Yeah, I really should do that, because otherwise, and the reasoning being, it's going to be in an estate, in a trust, no matter what. So literally, it just sits there if I don't.
Sure.
And it's depriving it of anyone. It's literally coming from Dev Null.
Well, and also it comes from somebody who at some point, and we don't know when or in what state she was when she wrote this will, but at some point she thought, I want to give something, she's parceling out whatever she had, and she said, I want this to go to this, what she, I assume, thinks of as this boy. So it seems like that would be a good way to... What's that?
That she's never met.
Sure, but I would like to give money to people that I've never met. There's a number of people that I've never met who are probably live in the chat room right now that I would love to give money to. Okay, so how curious are you? So it sounds like you're not at all curious to reach out to this step sibling.
Well, the thing is, remembering the stepless sibling, I feel like it just occurred to me that it's even more removed from a stepmother that I've never met, in that it just, it occurred to me just as I'm sitting here that she's adopted. So I feel like there's maybe like several layers of racquetball partner disconnect in that regard.
Metaphor. No metaphors.
Oh, I'm doing it again. Sorry. But here's what I will tell you. I feel like it's my moral obligation, having understood that I was listed as a stepson, but my sister not listed as a stepdaughter. Kind of feel like I should A, take the money, and B, give it to sis who's trying to get a master's degree.
So your
'Cause
sister.
that's like the ultimate. Like, I don't even know this stepmom, but she's trying to snub my sister. Some a snub to the grave. Someone I've never met. Is that bad karma?
There was
Is
a
that bad
lot.
karma?
There is a lot we don't know. There is quite a bit we don't know, up to and including how that will was adjudicated and how many versions of that will there were.
I just feel like
If-
that's a big fu to my sister. So
you don't know who said
Or
F
am I
you.
toying
You don't
with
know.
karma?
You don't know who said the F you. And we don't. Let me just say, from the area of Florida that she's from, there's a lot of elderly people who have wills written for them that are heavily guided by their kids.
all right. I forgot about that completely.
So I don't know. I think you should leave all options open and saying that I guess I would not assign motivations to the action that we know was taken. All we know is that there's $10,000 left for you and not your sister.
All right, listen, camera on me if you don't mind. Listen, gentlemen, this was a fantastic presentation. We think you guys are dynamite. You're fun, you're funny, you're dynamic. What an interesting story. Haven't heard the likes of that here in Hollywood in a long time. Good news, we've approved you for a follow-up. Not a full season, but we'll do a second pilot. We'll call it Ghost Mom 2.
I don't know, having heard the element that the person that I was literally seconds away from calling on Darren's behalf.
I mean, the question is, like, how much does the plot thicken if we do call?
Well, I mean,
And-
the will's the will, right? It's not like someone's.
Oh
gonna-
no! The money's the money.
Yeah.
Like now at this point, we are just looking for
Unless-
as much information as Darren would want. And if Darren wants no information, then we're done. Like we've gotten everything we have out of it. We did a fun podcast in 2019 currency. That's maximum return on mystery.
Yeah,
But,
like,
how-
I mean, come on, put yourself in the shoes. Like, how are you supposed to feel when you're like, oh, there was a mom you didn't know you had that has passed away? Like, are you supposed to get the feels? Are you supposed to be curious? Like, what were they like? Should I care? I mean, does that make me a terrible person if I don't? And also, you know, it's been so many years that it's like, well, what is it even worth at this point? You know, like, do you want to open yourself up to it? I mean, be real here. What would
dude.
you do?
I mean,
No,
literally.
not you, but like,
Yeah. What
You.
would the audience do?
You know what
Here-
I would do is I would cash that check and I would let everybody come for free to the VIP hangover party happening the day after South by So Wasted on March 9th in Austin, Texas. Head on over, get your tickets now, $18. By the way, I just got an email via text. Sorry. I got a text from Jomo of the Possum Posse saying, yeah, we're in. Haven't heard from Brian, but we can always hire a dude with a beard to pretend to be him.
I think they did that last year too.
Tell you what, it's a late confirmation that the Possum Posse gonna be at South by So Wasted doing their shit. Man, I am so pumped. Look at that. That's an official announcement. Possum Posse will be there. Dual Core will be there. How about Ice Cream Social? How about Night Attack? Hey, Darren, you coming to Austin?
I mean, you said Dualcore is going to be there, right?
Yeah.
That means Darren Kitchen's gonna be a motherfucking Austin.
If Dualcore says go to Brazil, you go to Brazil.
You go to Brazil. All right. There we go. Go ahead and get your tickets. And I think I've already gotten a few emails about people looking for the VIP shit. So very, very, very excited for
Dude,
that.
it's
as
gonna
well.
be great. It's
As
gonna be
for,
great.
Final words on Ghost Mom. You will get as much information as you want to get and as your family wants to get, and you're gonna get the $10,000, right?
Yeah, it feels like a really weird prize and a Price is Right that I never signed up for. So I guess I'll just give that to my sister and say "C'est la vie" to Mom I never had.
Look, man,
Yeah.
we all play
Thumbs up.
Monopoly. Sometimes you get a chance card that says bank error in your favor. Collect $20. Congratulations. You had a mom you didn't know about. Collect $10,000.
I'm a list Brian as my stepson on my well.
Hey, you're my stepson because I
Oh,
have
you're
no
mine.
sons. I only make girls.
After
I
this
swear to God,
episode.
yeah, no. You guys are both going to list each other as your stepsons, and then you're going to crash Ancestry.com. It's just going to, the entire database is going to melt down. Brian, do you want to do one final sign out via the music here?
Sure. Yeah. No. Hit it, DJ. Sometimes you do a comedy podcast. Sometimes it's not very funny. Oftentimes, it's not very funny.
Aw.
But sometimes you discover a little something about yourself. And that's that. Sometimes your podcast is just fucking weird. I'm Brian Brushwood. Night Attack is brought to you by Justin Robert Young, Darren Kitchen, Bryce Castillo, and of course, Chat Realm. Head on over to patreon.com/nightattack to support us. But if you want to get your project shouted out, then head on over to diamondclub.reddit.com, where the top sticky post will be your chance to shout out your project on Diamond Time.
Time Crunchy writes, I made a website, bit.ly/vacation, that is uppercase V, YOLO, uppercase Y, basically all the cooler, unique things that I do in cities that aren't posted all over the internet already. It's mostly Austin right now, so I figured this is a good time to advertise since so many people will be coming from out of town for South by Southwest. I have everything from a listing of weekly comedy open mics to go-to daiquiris, non-alcoholic bars, or to live prostate massage demonstrations.
What?
I'll be talking about it a little more on the Ritual Misery podcast tomorrow, too, if you want to tune in. Again, that is bit.ly/vacation YOLO, uppercase V, uppercase Y. I can tell you what, Crunchy's been talking about this idea for fucking years, and I am glad she did it.
Sin of Society says, hey, my cousin is trying to finish her degree and has hit some financial roadblocks due to medical emergencies. Anything helps? YOLO420.com/college swag. And her words from the GoFundMe, if you have time, which I think we do, says, hi there. In fall of 2017, I began working on my bachelor's degree at the age of 33. Despite being diagnosed as permanently disabled at the age of 29, it's been my life's goal to pursue higher education. And despite many setbacks, I was doing very well with a 3.3 GPA and glowing recommendations from my professors until the fall of 2018. 4 weeks into the semester, due to 2 serious medical emergencies relating to my disability, I painfully decided that it would be in my best interest to withdraw from classes for the semester and get healthy enough to resume school in 2019. Unfortunately, the uni has determined that I must pay back my full tuition for the fall term, $2,284 plus fees, prior to April of 2019, or I will not be eligible to register for classes. I've tried everything to raise the funds on my own, including selling my belongings, but I haven't been able to raise enough, so now I ask for your help. Please help me to fulfill my dream. It means the world to me and will make a world of difference in my life. That is YOLO420.com/college swag.
And finally, Real Bad Weave writes, if you're not joining the Diamond Club movie party, you are missing out. One Saturday each month, we get together and hang out on Saturday night and enjoy some awesome streaming and some hilarious movies. This month's movie party is this Saturday. That is February 16th, and it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/BigVoiceJ with an incredible pre-party stream from your favorite B-Team Movie Draft Golden Voice. The movies roll at 10 p.m. Eastern, hosted by our own Poodle Puncher and Sazine. And all the details are at YOLO420.com/real-good-time, and that is real as in a movie reel, YOLO420.com/real-good-time.
Hey, Bryce. Oh, nice. Dude, what a great stinger.
I always forget to play that.
Oh, no, that's amazing. Bryce, do we have any emails?
We do. Let's do
Join us for drinks in the Diamond Club.
In the Diamond Club. That sounds grand.
That sounds so grand. All right, so every week you can send us mail at mail@nightattack.tv, mail@nightattack.tv. We got a question here. Okay, we got a question here from Brian. Brian asks, this is kind of an old throwback. What do you guys know whatever happened to Danger Dane?
Danger Dane Golden, owner of the domain hey.com, our
No kidding.
producer back when we were on the network,
Huh.
who at his behest, we recorded him cursing us out and bleeped it out. We created a fake beef that a lot of people thought was a real beef. It was pretty fun.
And then I think it was the BBpedia that we had listed, like Danger Dane Golden. We had all the hilarious photoshops of him like chugging like Rageorade and stuff like that. What we wanted to do was our version of the Eminem. Was it Paul Rosenberg?
Oh, no. I think at the time we couched it as the pig vomit Howard Stern thing. Where
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I remember referencing the Eminem sketches of him just like yelling about all the like awful things that you guys are doing, and he had a great time doing them. It was a hilarious bit that we like played as semi-real, and then years later he's like, "So I'm on the job market, and the first thing that comes up on Google when you search my name is your listing on BBpedia about me being a total asshole."
Oh, no. Oh, that's right. I do remember this. Holy cow.
So we're like, cool. Like, I think we just we changed something so it wouldn't.
Psycho sauce. That's what he was drinking.
Oh, yeah, was that it? Psycho sauce.
Oh my God, what were we thinking, Justin? We joined a network and we immediately set fire to all goodwill. It was amazing.
Well, we definitely almost got kicked off on our first or second episode because we had a teenager.
Oh.
Fourth episode?
Well, I think
a
it
little
was
ways in.
I think third or fourth episode was the time we almost got kicked off for having somebody who's probably in the chat vomit live on the screen, and then we almost got kicked off for having our friends from Double Toasted, Martin and Corey. We were told.
No, that was their fault. That was their fault because we asked them very explicitly, "Are we an explicit podcast or are we not?" And they said, "No, you're an explicit podcast. We're going to put the tag on you. You guys are going to be our explicit show." And then Corey and Martin from Corey and Martin came on, and they said many words, many words beyond what we would be allowed to say. Some words that no white person should ever say. And that was very uncomfortable for the powers that be. And
Also, fairly universally considered to be one of the funniest episodes we ever did. Full stop.
And then that was actually a funny bit. If you've never seen the bit that we did with Colleen
Oh no.
in the after show,
Oh no.
it was a
Anything
bit,
with Colleen.
a bit referred to that I will only refer to as people on that rag. Corey and Martin doing ragtime dancing while Colleen looked on confused.
And we played like old timey piano music.
Yeah. They were on that rag. There was the ragtime.
Oh, goddamn. What the
Jesus.
fuck? What the fuck? How
Yeah,
are we not?
They didn't have any idea what the fuck to do with us.
Oh,
Jeez.
By the way, when we actually left the network, they begged us to have them sell our ads.
Oops. All right, we got a question from Nick with the C here. This is a question for Brian. Can we shit in the puppy yet?
I mean, you never couldn't not shit in the puppy yet, but I did meet with if you want shit to go down a shit pipe and go into a big old bucket.
Well, not a shit pipe.
underground.
No.
Yeah.
No,
As I understand it, construction will begin on the new shitter like in a matter of hours/days. Like we're right up to it.
One of those late night construction crews.
That's right. Dun dun dun.
Working on some night moves.
Okay, let's see. Oh, we had one. We had another really great one here. This is from Ren Aigu. This is a little bit of a long one. I'd like to ask the boys what they feel are the ethics of magic performance on TV. The question comes specifically because of my annoyance with the biggest Dutch TV magician at the moment. You've probably never heard of him, Victor Mids, with his show Mindfuck. In my mind, he cheats because
Very original title. It's almost as though somebody had that exact title 15 years ago, but had the good sense to call it Mind Freak.
in my mind, he cheats because he cuts away to tights and leaves out much of the performance or its setup. A specific incident arose when he did a trick on the Netherlands' biggest vlogging couple, and he let them film and publish the whole meeting. On TV, they showed an inexplicable short mind reading type of trick where the big reveal was a name of the fan of theirs appearing on his t-shirt in a selfie. Nothing more, nothing less. The full footage from the couple's side revealed a much longer warm-up trick, which gave him the name, a 10-minute break where he could get away and prepare the shirt, etc., etc., etc. Yada yada yada. Yeah. Anyway, let's go with that. What do you think about TV? And because
And he really did rip off everything from Chris Angel.
because like with Scam Nation and formerly Scam School, you know, filming any type of magic, whether it's instructional or whether it's performative, there are realities of logistics of filming magic.
What?
Spoiler alert. It's not real magic. There's always going to be a reason how it happens. And there are elements in mentalism specifically, which is what that would be if you're just asking somebody questions and then somebody knows the answers. That's referred to as mentalism, where for television purposes, it doesn't work as well. It's not as captivating television to show all the setup. Now, in a live performance, there are other ways that you can mask that, and maybe they could have masked that better in asking the blogging couple to film it. But for my money, Brian, the ethics in television magics are very loose. Like because ultimately you're just creating a big fun spectacle for people to watch. I hold the ethics there far less than I do for live magic or something like that.
Okay, so let's talk evolution. In the beginning, Darwin thought of a tree of life, a giant branches. You got your one branch that's got like slugs in it, and you got another branch that's got algae in it. You got another branch that's got vertebrates in it and invertebrates and all that stuff. And everything was constantly diverging. And the idea that a monkey morphed over time to become a man is completely not correct. Instead, what you had is you have a branching tree, and some branches lived and other branches died. And there is a common thread between men and some of our predecessors, and we have cousins that came off of other branches. But the important thing is that basically every art form will constantly diverge until all of the atmosphere is taken up, all of the sunlight. You know, there's some amount of free energy coming from the sun, so it's going to keep on branching. And if something's unoccupied, whatever goes there first will occupy that niche. And for example, think about a big old open plain. You throw a bunch of seeds down. Whichever seed grows up first, it's going to steal all the sunlight. The second one's going to grow up in the shadow of it, and it's going to be a lesser then. So whatever goes first tends to dominate. When it comes to TV magic, we are seeing in this constant artistic divergence, we are seeing the emergence of a new form of art. We've seen it in the last 10 years. It used to be, 50 years ago, there was no, 60 years ago, there was no TV magic, right? And if they did TV magic, they tried their best to make it like stage magic. They would go out of their way to say, nothing's going to cut away. This is exactly like if you were at home or whatever. At some point, David Copperfield figured out, like, why are we saying that? That's dumb. Let's get to the point. TV is a different medium than live. And then same thing happened on YouTube. On YouTube, people are like, why aren't we using just a little bit of After Effects to clean this up? Is it better somehow for the fact that you could see the edges on the black art or whatever? No, it's like, let's clean this up. Let's make it look as good as possible. And then other people have realized, why don't we just tell the story of magic, whether or not it's accurately reflective of what it's like, as long as the story is right on there. And that's fine. All of that is fine. It's the constant divergence of the art. And so it's weird to me to try to wedge what somebody does on television and try to make it the same thing as what you see on television. I don't see the point of it, and I think it's fine for them to be two totally different animals, especially since, even in the example given, both of them are telling the exact same story. Only one is being told in a format that is appropriate for a YouTube audience, a long-form content. Yes, I want to give you 15 minutes for this bit. The other is being told in a format that is appropriate for a 3-minute construct, where it's like, get to the point, don't mess around.
Here's the big key. Do you give a fuck? If you gave a fuck and you cared and you were invested, then it worked. If you were taken away from the performance, if you felt cheated by the performance, if you didn't like the performance because there was an element of inauthenticity that brought you out of experiencing it, then I would say that it worked less. I would say that it didn't work, because if you're going to be able to cheat at certain things, which you are on television, it just gives you the opportunity to do it, then you better hope people give a fuck. And that's the one thing that I would always say about Chris Angel is that, look, Chris Angel shot a lot of television. And I'm going to guess, I don't know for sure, I do, but let's say that I guess that there were many times in which shit didn't go according to plan, but they have to fill a show. So they just cheat and they move on. If people care, then he won. If they don't, then he didn't. Does that make him the greatest magician of all time? Technically, no. Does it make him a TV star? Fuck yeah.
By the way,
still playing Vegas right now.
Try reversing this. Here's a good exercise. If you want to feel like if it's fair or not, imagine this. Imagine you pay $50 for a live show, and you show up and you get a video played of the 3-minute version of the trick. And then imagine an alternate reality where you paid $50 for the show and you watch the entire 15 minutes as though exactly as it's presented in that YouTube video. My guess is you would like the longer, more in-depth, more real, more visceral, more your present and their present version that you see on YouTube. Likewise, like, you know those Rick Lax videos where on YouTube, or sorry, on Facebook, where it's like there's no audio. So it's, imagine if you paid money and somebody walked up and the first thing you did was hold up a sign saying like, "Don't skip to the next show, new page." Think of a number. and it was only 3 minutes long. Look, every art has its own limitations, and there are stories that are best told in their various different formats.
Yeah. And it sounds like maybe Renagu was not is not a happy customer with this, but you know.
Sure, yeah, and look, I'd never seen Mindfuck, but God bless the mids. I'm sure he's doing a great job. As for what you saw, there's a very specific mentalism principle that you probably got a fuller version of if that dude just let them record all of it. I would say that technically, as a magician, he did a shitty job not doing a lot of that pre-work in another venue before, he showed up and told them to start recording. There are ways that can be done in a different way.
Yeah. If you have email, send it in to mail, mail, at nightattack.tv. We'll read it here at the end of the show, which is what this is.
Oh man, I saw one of those emails that I'm surprised you didn't read.
We'll hold on.
Yeah, all right, we'll hold on to some of these. Hey man, what did we learn today, Justin?
Well, we learned that Brian can hit the fucking post on the serial music.
So many good hits.
More importantly, we learned that there are still so many surprises to be unpacked live here on Night Attack.
And the extra 75 cents for the certified mail, oftentimes worth it.
Very much so.
Hey, we learned R.I.P. Dick Kitchen. That man fucking got it. He got it going on.
We also learned live on the air, confirmed, the Possum Posse and possibly including Brian are going to be joining us for South by So Wasted on March 9th.
Absolutely. We learned bit.ly/Night Attack Austin is where you can get your $18 tickets for what will essentially be a one-day conference jammed into 3 hours, and then we're going to party all night long on 6th Street. Head
Hells
on
yeah.
over there.
Most of all, we love you. Die in a fire.
See you next Tuesday.
The Bit Boss.
Thanks to Pokey765. No, BioCow at the last
BioCow,
minute.
last minute winner. What a snipe.
Now.
Night attack. Night attack. Night attack. I love you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.